The miracles of Jesus Christ. 1. Jesus turns water into wine. John 2 verses 7-9. Jesus said to the servants, "Fill the jars with water," so they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, "Now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet." They did so, and the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned into wine. 2. Jesus heals an official's son. John 4 verses 50-51. "Go," Jesus replied, "your son will live." The man took Jesus at his word and departed. While he was still on the way, his servants met him with the news that his boy was living. 3. Jesus drives out an evil spirit. Mark 1 verses 25-26. "Be quiet," said Jesus sternly. "Come out of him." The impure spirit shook the man violently and came out of him with a shriek. 4. Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law. Matthew 8 verse 15. He touched her hand and the fever left her, and she got up and began to wait on him. 5. Jesus heals many sick and oppressed at evening. Matthew 8 verse 16. When evening came, many who were demon-possessed were brought to him, and he drove out the spirits with a word and healed all the sick. 6. The first miraculous catch of fish. Luke 5 verses 6-7. When they had done so, they caught such a large number of fish that their nets began to break. So they signaled their partners in the other boat to come and help them, and they came and filled both boats so full that they began to sink. 7. Jesus heals a man with leprosy. Matthew 8 verse 3. Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Immediately he was cleansed of his leprosy. 8. Jesus heals a centurion's servant. Matthew 8 verse 13. Then Jesus said to the centurion, "Go. Let it be done just as you believed it would." And his servant was healed at that moment. 9. Jesus heals a paralytic. Mark 2 verses 11-12. "I tell you, get up, take your mat and go home." He got up, took his mat and walked out in full view of them all. This amazed everyone and they praised God, saying, "We have never seen anything like this." 10. Jesus heals a man's withered hand. Matthew 12 verse 13. Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." So he stretched it out and it was completely restored, just as sound as the other. 11. Jesus raises a widow's son from the dead. Luke 7 verses 14-15. Then he went up and touched the bier they were carrying him on, and the bearer stood still. He said, "Young man, I say to you, get up." The dead man sat up and began to talk, and Jesus gave him back to his mother. 12. Jesus calms a storm. Mark 4 verse 39. He got up, rebuked the wind and said to the waves, "Quiet. Be still." Then the wind died down and it was completely calm. 13. Jesus heals the Gerasene demoniac legion. Mark 5 verse 8. For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you impure spirit." 14. Jesus heals a woman with bleeding, 12 years. Luke 8 verse 44. She came up behind him and touched the edge of his cloak, and immediately her bleeding stopped. 15. Jesus raises Jairus' daughter. Mark 5 verses 41-42. He took her by the hand and said to her, "Talitha cum," which means, "Little girl, I say to you, get up." Immediately the girl stood up and began to walk around. 16. Jesus heals two blind men. Matthew 9 verses 29-30. Then he touched their eyes and said, "According to your faith let it be done to you," and their sight was restored. 17. Jesus heals a mute demoniac. Matthew 9 verse 33. And when the demon was driven out, the man who had been mute spoke. The crowd was amazed and said, "Nothing like this has ever been seen in Israel." 18. Jesus feeds 5,000 men, plus women and children. Matthew 14 verses 19-20. Taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. They all ate and were satisfied, and the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. 19. Jesus walks on water. Matthew 14 verse 25. Shortly before dawn Jesus went out to them, walking on the lake. 20. Jesus heals many in Gennesaret. Matthew 14 verse 36. People brought all their sick to him and begged him to let the sick just touch the edge of his cloak, and all who touched it were healed. 21. Jesus heals a Gentile woman's demon-possessed daughter. Mark 7 verses 29 to 30. Then he told her, "For such a reply, you may go, the demon has left your daughter." She went home and found her child lying on the bed, and the demon gone. 22. Jesus heals a deaf and mute man. Mark 7 verses 34 to 35. He looked up to heaven and with a deep sigh said to him, "Ephphatha," which means, "be opened." At this, the man's ears were opened, his tongue was loosened and he began to speak plainly. 23. Jesus feeds the 4,000. Matthew 15 verses 36 to 37. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, and when he had given thanks, he broke them and gave them to the disciples, and they in turn to the people. They all ate and were satisfied. 24. Jesus heals a blind man at Bethsaida. Mark 8 verse 25. Once more Jesus put his hands on the man's eyes. Then his eyes were opened, his sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. 25. Jesus heals a man born blind. John 9 verses 6 to 7. After saying this, he spit on the ground, made some mud with the saliva, and put it on the man's eyes. "Go," he told him, "wash in the pool of Siloam." So the man went and washed, and came home seeing. 26. Jesus heals a boy with an unclean spirit. Mark 9 verses 25 to 26. When Jesus saw that a crowd was running to the scene, he rebuked the impure spirit. "You deaf and mute spirit," he said, "I command you, come out of him and never enter him again." The spirit shrieked, convulsed him violently and came out. 27. The coin in the fish's mouth. Matthew 17 verse 27. But so that we may not cause offense, go to the lake and throw out your line. Take the first fish you catch, open its mouth and you will find a 4-drachma coin. Take it and give it to them for my tax and yours. 28. Jesus heals a man born blind and mute. Luke 11 verse 14. Jesus was driving out a demon that was mute. When the demon left, the man who had been mute spoke, and the crowd was amazed. 29. Jesus heals a crippled woman. Luke 13 verses 12 to 13. When Jesus saw her, he called her forward and said to her, "Woman, you are set free from your infirmity." Then he put his hands on her, and immediately she straightened up and praised God. 30. Jesus heals a man with dropsy. Luke 14 verse 4. So taking hold of the man, he healed him and sent him on his way. 31. Jesus heals 10 lepers. Luke 17 verse 14. When he saw them, he said, "Go, show yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. 32. Jesus raises Lazarus from the dead. John 11 verses 43 to 44. When he had said this, Jesus called in a loud voice, "Lazarus, come out." The dead man came out, his hands and feet wrapped with strips of linen, and a cloth around his face. 33. Jesus restores sight to Bartimaeus, blind beggar. Mark 10 verse 52. "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. 34. Jesus curses a fig tree, and it withers. Matthew 21 verse 19. Seeing a fig tree by the road, he went up to it but found nothing on it except leaves. Then he said to it, "May you never bear fruit again." Immediately the tree withered. 35. Jesus heals a servant's ear, Marcus. Luke 22 verse 51. But Jesus answered, "No more of this." And he touched the man's ear and healed him. 36. The second miraculous catch of fish, after resurrection. John 21 verse 6. He said, "Throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some." When they did, they were unable to haul the net in because of the large number of fish. 37. The resurrection of Jesus. Matthew 28 verse 6. He is not here, he has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay.